Hey there, everybody. Well, I guess this is how I basically have to start every new episode of Loco Profiling, where I'm just sitting on my bed like this. Because, obviously, because of how my bedroom has been redone, you obviously remember that I don't have any shelves anymore in which I could just put my camera on there. Like, I don't have any shelf above my computer monitor. So, yes, I guess I'll just have to do it like this. But, it's finally time. Loco Profiling episode 16. It's the fourth and final locomotive in that voting poll that I did at the end of 2023. And it's actually going to be, like I said, not quite as funny as other episodes. This one is a bit more straight-laced, not as many memes. In fact, there's just one meme in it, and that's about it. Because, this locomotive does actually cover a somewhat serious topic. Even though it's a locomotive that, spoiler alert, was actually cut up for scrap. But still, also, yes, it's time. Credit goes to Crazy and Green. I used more music from Steam Loco as a profile, so links in the description to his YouTube channel and his web shop. I used I got the Volume 4 DVD here because I used a rather important piece of music, a piano cover of the Steam Locos and Profile theme song that's actually made for one of the two bonus episodes of this DVD, which is on the Baldwin 1012Ds, which were little 460 10-wheelers that were built as pannier tanks for 2-foot narrow gauge during World War I. That particular moment in history does actually play somewhat of a role here in this video. So, without further ado, it's finally time. Loco Profiling episode 16, London, Midland and Scottish, number 5551. Sorry it took so long, but all I can really say is sit back and enjoy. So, Locomotive 5551. This was the last member of the LMS's Patriot class. Another class of 3-cylinder 10-wheelers I have already covered in the past. They were indeed based on the Royal Scots, albeit using the boiler of a pre-grouping class of LMS 10-wheelers, the large Claughtons from the London and North Western Railway. In all, 52 Patriots were built between 1930 and 34 by the LMS themselves, but in this case at the former LNWR Locomotive Works in Crewe, as opposed to the former Midland Railway Locomotive Works in Derby. And although numbering for the first 42 locomotives was initially all over the place, they would receive a straight numbering scheme from 1934 onwards, with the last 10 locomotives immediately falling under this new scheme. So, in case you couldn't tell already, at the end, the Patriot locomotives were collectively numbered 5500 through 5551. Despite the Claughton boiler, the Patriots were also designed by Henry Fowler, who used to work on the Midland Railway. And due to their smaller yet similar appearance to the Royal Scots, they were given the nickname Baby Scots. Heck, thanks to literally having the same specs on the frame and chassis, they shared some of the tractive effort related geometry too. A threesome of 18 by 26-inch cylinders and 81-inch driving wheels. The big difference was the boiler pressure, and subsequent the total tractive effort figure. 200 psi, and thus 26,520 pounds of tractive effort on the Patriots, versus 250 psi, and thus 33,150 pounds of tractive effort on the Royal Scots. As for 5551, like I said, it was the last of the Patriots to be built, rolling out of Crewe Works in May of 1934. And it would be one of 10 locomotives of this class that didn't carry a name in revenue service. Regardless, it soldiered on predominantly on passenger services along the West Coast Main Line in England. Though during the 50s, after the LMS had merged with the GWR, LNER and Southern into British Railways, it wasn't unknown for the engine and other Patriots to be spotted on the occasional freight train, when British Railways began to dieselize. Sheds that it was allocated to over the years included Crewe North, Carlisle Upperby, Camden, Willesden, and its final shed, Edge Hill, being transferred there in June of 1961 and remaining there until withdrawal in June of 1962. But by October of that year, the last of the Patriots would be euthanized. And just to clarify, whenever we say that a steam locomotive has been euthanized, we mean it as a more poetic way of saying that, sadly, the engine was cut up for scrap. I could be wrong about it being the last Patriot locomotive to be cut up for scrap, but needless to say, none of the 52 Patriots that were built were secured for preservation. However, that wouldn't be the end of it. Many years later, in 2008, a project was launched to give the Patriots the new build treatment, albeit in the form of a full-scale replica of 5551. Good progress has been made, albeit a little on the slow side, and sadly the people who are building this locomotive have admittedly failed to reach a major deadline. That deadline was having the engine completed and steamed up with an official ceremony for a crucial day, November the 11th of 2018. The reason why I put it like this is because the new 5551 will actually be given a name. The Unknown Warrior. This name was partially chosen due to the original 5551 being nameless, but mostly chosen to commemorate the brave soldiers of the British Armed Forces who went into battle and never came back. This is because this particular locomotive will be intended as a huge physical embodiment of Remembrance Day, Britain's version of Veterans Day. On this special day, held every year on November 11th, the British people commemorate those who lost their lives in the line of duty since the First World War, also known as the Great War, fought between July 28th of 1914 and November 11th of 1918. With the end of said war also known as Armistice. And as previously stated, the folks of the Patriot Project really wanted to have the engine finished for the centenary of Armistice in 2018, but alas. And then they had another deadline to have it finished in 2020, but we don't have to talk that much about why they failed that one. As of now, the plan does seem to have the engine finished in 2027. So even if 5551 was unable to make it to the 100th anniversary of Armistice, here's hoping that it won't miss the 110th. And yes, in terms of numbering, I do specifically mean 5551, because thankfully, during a voting poll to decide the engine's livery, at least to begin with, LMS Crimson Lake proved to be the winner. During earlier stages of construction, the cab was painted in that livery on the left, but sadly, British Railways Brunswick green on the right.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
My honest opinion on the livery, only switch between LMS Crimson Lake and different variations of LMS Black. Keep her out of BR numbering, please. But that's just me. And for the few people asking why the project didn't go with what could have been the next Patriot locomotive, 5552, that number was used for the first of William Stanier's Jubilee class, which were also 3-cylinder 10-wheelers. I'm stuck with the task of doing an episode on one of those too, aren't I?